By this time, Pure should be heading back to her place to rest after being stuck in the studio all day. Yet she drove aimlessly, floating as if there was no need to rush to do anything else. The beautiful artist arrived at the area where she had once been. With someone, it happened automatically every time. If she did not know where to flee to, she would decide on this place. Deep down, she knew all too well that she was waiting for coincidence to play its part, waiting for the day when she would accidentally meet the girl, even though such an event had never happened all this time. Although she had not expected much, when she arrived and did not find anyone, Pure was disappointed to the point that her tears sometimes became uncontrollable. A late-night meal was what she chose, even though she did not feel like eating. Because even if she were to sit in that small bar, she did not want to drink at all. A porridge shop would be the best choice at this time. As soon as she made up her mind, her two slim legs and high heels took her to the shop after she miraculously found a parking spot. The famous restaurant was her destination. The sidewalk was not as smooth as it should be, and she had to be cautious in every step. Her beautiful eyes kept glancing down, afraid that she might accidentally fall. Pure did that for a while, until she finally looked up at the path ahead. The sight that had the power to shake her heart and make it thunder appeared not far away. It was as if the surroundings had stopped moving. Nothing was more interesting than the existence of the person in her heart anymore. It was true that she had carried herself here just because she wanted to accidentally meet someone, but when it really happened, she didn't know what to do, other than standing there with her heart beating rapidly, her eyes fixated on the other person. In silence, Pure didn't know what to do next. This was the first time she saw Loft's face. The girl had changed quite a bit from 2 years ago. Her calm demeanor and formal attire were strangely unusual. The tall girl who was making eye contact with her at the moment didn't even smile to greet her. Pure wasn't sure if the other person was upset to see her, but she didn't feel that way at all. The longing that she felt every day made her eyes start to burn. The two of them parted with tears. When they met again, Pure still wanted to cry as before. The efforts that were within the specified limits had paid off. The diligence of visiting here has yielded satisfactory results, but at this moment, the person who was overwhelmed with emotions still couldn't manage to get them in place. Loft stopped moving, not moving closer or farther away. The tall person stood in the same position and used her eyes to scan the sight of the gorgeous older woman, who was still as gorgeous, without blinking. Pure's gaze made her mind go blank. Amidst the chaos, "I miss you so much" was the clearest answer she could find. She wanted to hug that delicate body once more, wanted to ask if she had been well in the past few years, if her life was good, and most importantly, she wanted to ask Pure if, during the time they were apart, the woman missed her as much as she missed her. There were two options. The woman could walk closer or step back without greeting. Loft waited for the other person to do something with impatience. If Pure chose to act as if they hadn't met, she had no argument or right to demand anything, because that was what the woman wished. The younger person had to accept it willingly. There was no way around it. But would it be possible for the gorgeous older woman to decide on walking closer, smiling, and saying hello so that Loft could hear the voice that she had been yearning for since they separated that day? This moment was quite heart-wrenching. It felt like a pivotal moment that could determine the future of their relationship. If Pure chose to act as though today's events were nothing more than a fleeting dream, it would mean that the pottery studio owner wasn't ready to revisit the bittersweet memories of their past. On the other hand, if Pure showed that she was willing to face everything head-on, Loft would gain clarity on what she should do moving forward. Up until now, the loyal girl still gave Pure the right to choose, as she had always done. As long as Pure was the one deciding, she was willing to accept it like every Time before. What are you doing around here, Loft? Every step taken in those high heels sent waves of nervous anticipation through the onlooker, the 26-year-old with. Strikingly, good looks found herself barely able to breathe as she watched the other woman approach, only when the sweet voice reached her ears, accompanied by question. Did Loft finally exhale softly, allowing herself a moment to breathe again? She missed Pure so much. Truly, there hadn't been a single day she didn't think of. Her beautiful face, the sweet voice, and that captivating, enchanting smile, all of it lingered in her thoughts endlessly. What about you, Pure? What are you doing here? Just grabbing a meal. At this time, it was a little surprising but understandable. Maybe the gorgeous older woman felt hungry at midnight, or maybe she was in the studio all day and night, so she stopped by here before going back to her place. What about you? Me too, just getting something to eat. Right now, the beautiful eyebrows raised in frustration. In the past, Loft had seen this sight so often, but she would never look away. Pure's facial expressions were one of the things she loved, whether they showed curiosity, happiness, or anger. Every emotion was beautiful to look at. Yes, I just finished work. What do you want to eat? I haven't thought about it yet. I usually just wander around. Sometimes she just stopped by and left, and not actually having a late-night meal at any restaurant. She kept the latter part to herself, as she didn't see the need to say it out loud. Do you come here often? Quite often. She wanted to tell her the reason why she came here often, but she was afraid that it would make Pure uncomfortable, so Loft swallowed the sentence. After that, not uttering anything else. Oh, really? The artist wanted to ask immediately why the two of them had never come across each other like today, even though she came here as often as Loft. But in the end, she couldn't say anything, and after that, both of them went silent for a while until Loft was the one who broke the strange and unfamiliar atmosphere by inviting the woman with a broken, stuttering sentence that lacked confidence. Wanna have dinner together? What do you think, Pure? In the past, inviting the person in front of her for a meal wasn't difficult or worrisome. Whenever she wanted to go with her, Loft would tell Pure directly, but as time passed, the situation between the two of them changed. Nothing was the same anymore, so a simple matter immediately became difficult. What about that porridge place? Pure saw all of the girls' uncertain expressions. Even though the other person seemed more mature than before and had improved in terms of hiding her emotions and facial expressions, the trembling emotions reflected in those eyes still couldn't be completely hidden. That made her feel that Loft was still Loft, a person who was clear and straightforward. Sure. After they came to an agreement, the two walked side by side into the porridge shop that they had once planned to stop by together, but because the situation at that time wasn't so good, they couldn't do as they had intended. Of course, everything that they dreamed of collapsed, so this reminded them of regret every time it came to their minds. Both Pure and Loft felt the same. The late-night meal that no one felt hungry for was slowly eaten. There were no chatters, just a few brief sentences exchanged between Pure and Loft. An atmosphere that had never been experienced before was created. It was filled with a mass of feelings that were hard to explain. They were yearning and missing each other, but they were still careful with their words and actions. In the end, the awkwardness erupted and covered the entire area. Are you full? Seeing that Loft had put down the spoon in her hand after a short while, Pure asked while still looking down. I'm not very hungry. If you're not hungry, then what are we doing sitting here? Her question wasn't mixed with dissatisfaction, but Pure only asked with a slight smile, a forced one. At the same time, the person who was also not very hungry as Pure put down the spoon in her hand. I just wanted to be close to you, I guess. Pure, who was busy wiping her mouth with a napkin, halted all her movements at the sentence she had just heard. The Woman turned to meet the eyes that were looking at her. She saw the obvious and sparkling pleading. The pretty face still remained indifferent, yet the overflowing longing was easily conveyed to her. "How have you been lately?" The question, filled with emotions, sounded a bit broken and soft, but it was still enough for Loft to understand what the other person wanted to convey. "Can I mention anything? About the two of us, are there things that I should avoid?" "You can say everything." "I miss you. I miss you, Pure, every day. I've never not thought of you for a single day." The hoarse voice came with trembling eyes. Loft tried to blink her eyes more often, hopping to get rid of the clear tears that were welling up in her eyes. The tall girl wanted to be a little tougher, but she wasn't that capable. In fact, she felt like crying, since she saw the young woman she had been looking for 2 years standing in front of her, and when she got to tell her what was stuck in her heart, how could she resist these overflowing emotions? Pure bit her lips lightly and didn't respond. There were times when she couldn't fight Loft's gaze. It was so overwhelming to the point that she had to look down to avoid it. She was afraid that she would suddenly say that she missed the girl just as much. "My feelings have never changed, even now. You don't have anyone. No one could ever replace you, Pure." She hadn't shut herself of, but she didn't try to erase the memories between them, even though the past was bittersweet. Loft was still glad that what had happened between them once existed. "Loft, I'm just saying, we won't get to find one that often, you know. I'm really not waiting, but I still can't love anyone the way I love you." With this woman, Lofthed never played games or put up any pretense. Not once. Whatever she thought, whatever she felt, the tall girl always laid it bare for Pure to see. "I've never been able to keep anything to myself, huh? If over time your heart still hasn't healed, that's okay, Pure. If one day we happen to meet again, I'll tell you whether I've fallen in love with someone else or if I still love you the same." She had noticed the gorgeous older woman's lack of reaction when she confessed her love, and assumed that Pure wasn't ready to deal with romantic entanglements. With that in mind, Loft decided to make things simpler by preparing to leave Pure's life once again, letting their meeting tonight become one of the cherished memories that she could never forget. "Can you cover the bill? I think I should leave now." She was so hurt she could not stand to see the woman any longer. Loft stood abruptly, saying her goodbyes hastily as she prepared to walk away. It had taken 2 years to see each other again, but after expressing everything she wanted to say, Pure remained silent, and that spoke volumes. It was clear that the beautiful older sister didn't want to be involved with her anymore. Loft understood what she was facing, and never expected that they would meet again when Pure was ready to truly love someone. Yet it was hard not to feel disappointed knowing that 2 years hadn't been enough to heal Pure's shattered heart. 2 years hadn't been enough to atone for the wrongs done to her former lover, and 2 years hadn't been enough for Pure to start looking at her with love. It wasn't yet Loft's time to be loved, not now. As her eyes blurred with tears, the tall girl who had just stood up hadn't taken a step away when Pure's warm hand reached out to hold hers. The touch stopped her in her tracks, as if a button had been pressed to halt her movement. "Are you free tomorrow?" "Sorry." She didn't quite understand the situation. Loft raised an eyebrow in confusion as she muttered a question. "In the evening, would you like to come for a pottery class?" Pure took a moment to gather her courage to say something that made Loft's heart race so violently as if it was about to pop out. Loft continued to let tears fall, but they were accompanied by an unexpected smile. Was this the end of her waiting? The tall girl kept asking herself over and over. The invitation to step into Pure's world, did it mean that the beautiful woman was welcoming her back?